This is Francois Andry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you're from Phillips, and you
Phillips,
work
yes.
on the digital health platform.
Yeah. So Andrew, I don't know if you're like me, but the level of quality of the presentation is amazing. I mean, not only for the technical aspect also, but for the business. I was surprised to, I mean, I talked to a lot of you in the crowd. I found people talking about different domain. So because if you think about it, we're building the platform for real user. I mean, I'm an architect and a developer, and I enjoy coding, right? But if my management would give the ability to say, oh, build me this one line of code and push a button, they'll be happy.
Absolutely.
So what is important, we're building application for real people. Like yesterday, Angel was talking about building the platform for people.
We met in the hallway. I didn't even know you were giving this talk today.
So he was talking about the developers. He was talking about, I think, the IT people and the architects. But we have to think about the end user, because ultimately we're going to develop application that runs for solving a problem for users.
Absolutely.
So
I'm a connoisseur of conferences, and I think that some of the stuff we've seen yesterday and this morning, the Diego talk, and I was glued to the screen basically, like these complex problems and the auctions and these types of algorithms. They're fascinating, and it'll be very interesting to see how this evolves. Like this is the future, right? This is the way that these systems are being built at Google, Amazon, the big web, and we're going to be able to bring that type of approach to the future of the enterprise.
Exactly. So what I want to do today is explain a little bit more what we do at Phillips.
All right.
So thank you, Andrew. So what we are doing is we are solving problems in different domains. So Phillips is a 120 years old company. We're building, we started with the light bulbs, X-ray machine, radio, TV, CD players, and then we're into healthcare. And now Phillips has to reinvent itself to stay competitive every few years. Now we are in the midst of the major transformation, business transformation. We're in 3 different segments. One is healthcare. So we have this big multi-million-dollar RMI machine, CD scanner, and so on. We're also in consumer lifestyles. So coffee makers, respirators, the AAD device that you can see in a school or in an airport. So if you have a cardiac arrest. And then you have lighting. In fact, we're the biggest lighting service provider because this is the new model of selling lights in the world. So you see like the Eiffel Tower or the Bay Bridge or some project in Buenos Aires or in a small village in Africa. So we are touching the life for almost like 2 billion people, and we're growing in different markets. So we have challenges. So we have different challenges. One is scalability, because every day we have millions of devices that are connected to us, and we're also connected to those devices. Like the AD that I mentioned in the airport, you have to connect to the device every few minutes to make sure it's working properly. So what we do is we are creating new, what we call digital proposition. So before we're like shipping product, now hardware or device. Now what we do, proposition is a bundle of software, hardware, and media, digital media. So you can have training for a coach, things that we bundle together. So one issue with that is that if we want to build this proposition, we have to be able to scale. So this is an IT problem. Like every large company at Phillips, we have silos over the years. So we have healthcare is a Windows shop. So, but we have other silos where they have very high, large quantity of Java developers. And so we want to reduce the total cost of ownership. At the same time, the goal is to satisfy a customer, build a new proposition across all these different segments, healthcare, lighting, and consumer market. So if you look at healthcare, healthcare goes from the moment you are in your mom's womb until almost you die. Because so you start sometime you're a patient, sometime you are just someone who takes care of your health. Maybe you want to lose some weight. So there's a whole continuum between the hospital or the clinic to your home. So when we started to create this or imagine this digital platform, we say we need this platform to create new opportunity for Phillips. We have this ecosystem, several ecosystems that we need to integrate, .NET, Java, and so on, Windows, Linux. We want to combine the data. So I was telling you, we get a very large amount of data coming into from devices, so we need to store them. In different models, sometimes you have to, they arrive so fast that you have to put that in a queue. Sometimes it's easy, like small amounts, but very, very confidential data, so you have to put this in very structured data. So we need a mixed SQL, NoSQL, structure, not structure, and so on. And then you want, of course, to reduce the time to market. So what we want to do is very fast. Sometimes you want to create an application in a few days because there's an opportunity and you want to test that in the market. You want to reduce the complexity in terms of security and compliance with healthcare in different markets too, because the legislation is the same in the US or in France or in China. And of course, we want to reduce the operational cost, so in terms of licensing for our IT and so on. So when we started to imagine what would be what we need, what would be the life cycle of this new application and bundle of proposition, it was like this. So we need an ID. We need to have your developer to have a set of IDs, toolkits, and they can introspect the type of service, API, library they can reuse. Then be able to implement data-driven patterns, discover and integrate the service, and start to deploy. So configure deployment, deploy the application, then monitor when they run, be able to have the elasticity up and down, because sometimes we have clinics where you have only like a few thousand patients in the Midwest, but on the East Coast, West Coast, or in China, sometimes it's a million of potential images or medical records that are accessed. So you want to be up and down on a peak. Maybe there's an emergency, an earthquake. So you want not only be able to access the cloud, but on premise, because your images are on premise. So tools to monitor, analytics to predict, to do maybe some population management, leverage those resources, and at the end of the cycle, maybe maintain your application, upgrade, because you have those applications that are live for years, and data has to be stored for also years and years. And then you deprecate your application. So if you look at this and you think, well, it looks like Cloud Foundry, right? Cloud Foundry will offer, at least the ecosystem will offer everything we need. So for us, instead of focusing on creating this from scratch, yes, PaaS, the whole cloud infrastructure, we can focus on the business, creating those applications and those propositions, and not creating the cloud infrastructure from scratch. So we look at Cloud Foundry, we're evaluating, and we did a very interesting proof of concept. Thank you, Yogesh helped me on that. And so what the value proposition for Cloud Foundry was the maturity, because it's not new. Cloud Foundry has been around for some time. Adoption by big players in the industry. So that was very comforting for Phillips. The ability also to provision, configure, and control and monitor out of the box, because at Phillips, in every silo, we had to do, redo, let's say, logging, auditing, and so on. All this, I would say, cross-cutting concern. Of course, the elastic runtime service was something that we needed, although we had some question about our existing stack, and something I'm going to talk later. I'll go back to that. And something very important for us, it was the generic way to integrate the infrastructure as a service. And I mentioned in hospital, you can have data on the cloud, but for caching, but also you need data on premise. And you want to have different components, different line of code for those components. You want the same component, the same code that access either on premise or remotely. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare to manage that. So the fact that we can integrate generically and we can plug also different cloud vendors, because in the US, maybe you can use Amazon, but in China, you'll use Alibaba or another one. That was very important for us. The fact that you can have out of the box also building service, RDBMS, S3, also RabbitMQ, and so on, Hadoop. And then the ability also to create, I would say, customized service broker, because the healthcare, you need those specific services. So let me tell you also something specific to Phillips, the way the cloud is segmented for us. We don't have, we're not a startup. So ideally, you would start maybe be on a public cloud, or maybe some hybrid model, but at least you would choose your stack from scratch. Here, we have a lot of legacy systems. So we have what we call the Philips Healthcare Private Cloud. So it's behind the firewall of the hospital. And then this is very regulated data, HIPAA compliant for those who works in the healthcare domain, where we store clinical and patient demographic data. So only people that need to have access to this data. So very highly secure. And then we have the Philips public cloud. So you buy, let's say, a coffee maker or air purifier. You can register. It's on internet, and you want to have access to the data. But you see, between these two worlds, you can have also data flowing from your hospital into maybe your personal health record. And you want to merge that with other information coming, let's say, from a Fitbit device that we also we could integrate. Philips tried to integrate also third-party devices. You can buy a Philips device or other product, and then we offer proposition on top of those devices. Or patient-consumer device, and so caregivers, so people who take care. Very often the patient, someone takes care of the patient. It's maybe a stepdaughter or someone. Or you have coach also that wants helping you losing weight and so on. And then we have Philips internal big data. This is the data lake where we dump the data, and then we try to create analytics and reporting to create new services and so on. So that adds another layer of complexity. So if you look at where Cloud Foundry is, this is the middle box. This is the green box, behind. And as you see, this is, it's good. It's a generic PaaS layer, but we need to verticalize this, make it vertical for the healthcare and wellness and the Philips business. So here you see all the bullet points, everything that we need to add. So for example, auditing. Auditing in healthcare is very specific. There is ATNA compliant format. So every time you have a transaction that you touch a medical record, then you have to create automatically an audit record. So you have logging, workflow engine, so you can have decision support, eventing, PubSub. So some of them will come from this community, but some of others will have to build them and enable that for the people who are going to consume the platform, which are initially Philips business. So that's a top layer. We're going to combine applications coming from healthcare, wellness, lighting, and so on. And in the future, third-party developers from other companies that will expose the API, and they'll create great product for our customers. So we have other things like reporting, data broker, device integration. This is very important. Consent, also some arcane acronyms for healthcare, health information exchange, and so on. And modernization, that's also important. So the problem at Philips now, we are victim of our own success. So we say, here's the plan, we're going to build this big digital platform, but every month you have a group say, hey, we want this, so we have to have this little box. Okay, we're going to have user management, we need configuration, provisioning, and so on. So how do we build that? And then we have to have an architecture runway so we can deliver this feature in the right order. So when internally there is new provision coming, we have to have those services exposed. So let me pick one just to show you the complexity. I'm going to choose the one at the lower left, patient identity and user identity management in general. So a user for us can be different things. So it could be a provider, healthcare provider. Let's say your doctor or nurse, but we say inside provider. That means inside from the hospital. that will access your virtual health record. So your immunization, observation, any incident you had, and so on. So this is private information. And then you have this outside provider, the durable equipment people that are going to maybe deliver a bed and respirator at your home that wants to look at your healthcare history. And then this data is going to go through your personal health record because as a patient or later as someone who takes care of about his or her health, or maybe that's someone from your family taking care of you, wants to look at the data. And finally, you have the consumer that looks at wellness. Maybe he has within, maybe just try to measure his health, or maybe this person is diabetic, so has the glucometer and so on. So now let me describe some use cases. So you see this box in the middle on the top of Cloud Foundry or on the PaaS layer. So I'm going to show how they can interact and then imagine some use cases. So originally, the type of use cases we had was within the different segments, but not across the segment. So an example would be, if I take lighting, for example, you go to Apple Store, you can buy this product. It's called U. So it's you have an internet hub that you plug in your internet. You have some lamps, so you can manage up to 50 lamps, and automatically will, through your iPhone or Android application, you can say, I want this light going on with this light, with this intensity, maybe maybe you're traveling, but it's limiting, you know? It's quite limited. But you can imagine now you have product across the different business. So an example is with a baby. So we have these smart blankets that you can wrap the baby, and it will detect the temperature and the health of the baby. At the same time, the data can be exported to a PHR, to a personal health record of the baby. So you have this immunization record. The mom can show maybe some sonogram to a friend, and then you can have also additional information that comes from other devices, that maybe your scale and so on. So here, I'm going to show you, I have another few minutes. I want to show you, describe some scenario in 3 different contexts, but that goes from the whole continuum between a very sick patient to someone very healthy. And you see how we can use the platform to do that, and the application I wrote some type of platform. So if you follow the number from 1 to 10 or 1 to 8 on this one, so let's say you are a patient, you went hiking, you are a person hiking in the middle of California, you have an accident, you broke your shoulder, you are just, you go to a local hospital, they take an x-ray, you go back to the Bay Area, doctor access to the data because we push it to the cloud, and then it's back on premise. Your care provider can prescribe new things. Then at home, you access your iPad, and then you have this application that you can look at, follow this, maybe you're recovering and so on. So data is stored in the data lake. You have maybe some metadata associated to that, and then everything is stored. You have access through your iPad or even iPhone. And then you have other people like an admin that can manage the whole overall application running, and maybe some analysts can do some population management. So that was like pure healthcare. Now let's say you have been maybe sicker, someone else from your family or even yourself. You have been discharged from the hospital, but the doctors say you get a very big back flu, you have some complication. I'm going to talk to a durable medical equipment that is going to provide you a respirator for some time. So the DME goes to your home, provides you respirator, maybe some additional thing because let's say you have some chronic disease, or let's say you want to control your weight, so you have also a scale that was connected to you. So you have this application on iPhone. You get a notification, or your durable medical equipment is arriving, so install it. You can also monitor that regularly. And so same thing, you have also some administrator that can monitor the health of your system or of your ecosystem, and then some analysts that can also do some population management or offer new service on top of that. And the last one is it's really wellness. So it's extended healthcare, but we want also to prevent illness. This is a goal. This is a new model for healthcare. So in that case, you bought some, let's say, Fitbit device, maybe some additional things like ULAMP and so on, and you want to merge and combine this for a better life. So you register your product, and then you can import your data come from the hospital, and then you also have, so you give consent, you could give consent for other people to look at your data. And then again, you have administrator that can monitor the health of your application, scale up and down, deploy that in different geographic contexts and so on, and also have some amazing new application because you're using big data and analytics and reporting. So that's conclude my talk. So thank you for listening. I encourage you to look at Phillips' website. There's a lot of things about innovation. The other thing is that we're operating in almost every country, but we have development operation in a lot of different time zones. So the development of the platform is done in those different sites, but we also have an important presence in the Bay Area, in Foster City. We're hiring, by the way, so if you're interested, just talk to me or talk to Gotham and Cal here, my colleagues. And thank you. I hope you appreciate the rest of this talk. Thank you.